Spoiler warning. The following discussion will contain spoilers. We recommend checking out the movie first, then coming back to hang with us. But if you don't care about that, glad to have you here.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Real Review, Mandalorian Edition, a series where we travel along with the Mando on his journey through Season 2, discussing each chapter as they release. My name's Kevin.
And I'm John.
And we are The Real Movie Guys. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about Chapter 13, The Jedi. The Mandalorian travels to a world ruled by a ruthless magistrate who has made a powerful enemy. It's finally here, John. We did it. We did
Made
it.
to the Jedi.
We got live-action Ahsoka Tano.
Jedi.
So,
Woo.
what did you think? Before I even start spewing all my love and undying loyalty to this character, what did you think of this? But not even the reveal. Let's not even get into the reveal. What did you think of this big debut of Ahsoka? Did you get all the hype behind it? Were you all about it? Like, what were your feelings about Ahsoka?
I don't have much feelings about her. Like, it was weird, though, because each time we do one of these episodes, I feel like I know less and less about, like, I should have watched Clone Wars.
Right.
But then again, like, I don't have time to go all the way back and watch Clone Wars. But I feel like if I watched it, I would like this even more.
Okay.
Because she seems like a really cool character.
Oh, God, yeah. So
She
much.
seems like one of those characters that's, like, up there, up in lore.
Oh, well.
And I loved,
yeah.
I'm not going to lie, her whole appeal and everything, and I loved her white lightsabers.
Right.
I felt like that was awesome, especially not even just in that scene and everything where like it would kind of just light up and not light up.
I've lost visual. Scan for movement.
But I felt like it was so cool in that. But like, I don't know as much as I should.
Yeah, do you think that hinders your enjoyment at all? I know we've talked about this briefly, but did it leave you wanting more about this character, like wanting to know more?
Well, yeah, like I said, I would love to go back and watch
So it does, okay.
all of Clone Wars, but
Because part of me, this is interesting, because part of me feels like this might be an experiment by Disney in some regard, where they're seeing if they're putting feelers out there, right, for these expanded universe characters that they've created. They're trying to see, would they warrant maybe like their own series or some kind of movie or a spin-off? Part of me wonders if that's like an agenda there, because I've heard rumblings about Ahsoka possibly getting her own either show or movie. So that's kind of interesting. I wonder if this was like an early feeler for that. But for me, as being a huge Clone Wars fanboy, essentially, loving everything from the beginning to the end of that series, this did not disappoint in any regard. Ahsoka Tano, Rosario Dawson captured her perfectly. She's got the wit, she's got the humor.
We need to talk.
I hope it's about him.
She's got the kindness.
Let's see what knowledge is lurking inside that little mind.
The look in general. She looks just like an aged Ahsoka. She looks just where she would be around this time in that age. The makeup work I thought was fantastic. The practical everything on her looked organic. It didn't look fake to me. I didn't see anything that was off-putting. I thought it captured her perfectly. Her lightsabers being white. They don't go into detail why they're white. There's a reason why her lightsabers are white. But again, they captured everything about this character that I loved in the animated portion. They captured it perfectly in live action. So now the question becomes, what do we do with her? It's perfect that, in all sense of the word, Dave Filoni was the director of this episode. Dave Filoni is the god savior of Clone Wars. The director, he's, orchestrated everything. That was probably the best person you could have had directing this episode, especially from, knowing such a strong character. And I even saw in some interviews with him where they talked to him and he discussed like, Ahsoka probably was like the best character to have that interaction with Baby Yoda, who has a real name now. She's caring, she's compassionate, she has history. Her history with Anakin kind of shines a light. Like, John, now you from this episode, you wouldn't be able to gather she was the apprentice of Darth Vader. She was Anakin Skywalker's apprentice.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, see, you wouldn't have gathered that, which, again, it's becoming one of those things where I question, is having all that back knowledge, I think that helps you enjoy it more, but are other fans missing things? Not that it's a bad thing, but I wonder if there's like 2 levels of enjoyment that are happening here. But let's talk about the other big reveal. So, Baby Yoda has a real name. We were kind of wrong. I assumed, to some extent, that Baby Yoda, the child, was a clone of Yoda in some capacity. He's actually not. We find out that he was an actual child on Coruscant that escaped when Anakin was murdering younglings.
He was raised at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. Many masters trained him over the years. At the end of the Clone Wars, when the Empire rose to power, he was hidden.
Oh, that's a dark scene. Just a side note here. The prequels didn't do very many good things, but seeing Anakin like slaughter a bunch of little kids, that'll stay with you. If you want a bad guy, that'll haunt you. So I can kind of picture that scene playing out, right? Someone just rescuing him, getting him out of there.
Someone took him from the temple. Then his memory becomes dark.
And then we find out his name is Grogu.
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 And what do you think of that name? Were you disappointed by that name? Were you indifferent to it?
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
It doesn't come off the tongue very well.
It's funny. I made a
Grogu.
joke. Well, I think it was the last episode we were talking about where I was like, oh, he kind of reminds me of Baby Groot. We're getting closer. We're getting syllables. We're getting there.
Grogu.
But it was interesting. I
Baby
loved
Grogu.
this episode had a lot of fun things. I felt like they showed the interconnection. Like Ahsoka not actually speaking to Grogu the whole time, I thought was very interesting. She's just with her mind, they're telecommunicating that way. And there's like a long scene of them just not talking, right? They're just like looking at each other noddingly and like, furrowing the brow and like going back and forth. And I really like that. I like that how she's able to get all this information from him.
Is he speaking? Do you understand him?
In a way.
It kind of reminded me of when they're at the campfire and she's with Mando. It reminds me of A New Hope when Obi-Wan sits down with Luke and like goes over the past and goes over the history. You really get like a sense of, now for you in this regard, you don't know kind of what she went through. So for you, you're getting that New Hope treatment almost, where it's like, oh man, what is she talking about? Who's the person that, was the best of them that fell, and you can just see like the soul like leave her face almost.
I've seen what such feelings can do to a fully trained Jedi Knight. To the best of us. I will not start this child down that path.
When she talks about, the dark side and all this fear and everything like that. Like, what is she talking about?
She was talking about Darth Vader, though.
But she was. That's who she witnessed her master, Anakin, fall. She saw the best of them fall. And you just see, now for me, I know what she's talking about. For you, you're like, oh, not that it's a bad thing. I'm just saying you don't know exactly what she's talking about. So it's interesting to see like that perspective. Again, you're getting like that New Hope treatment where, like I said, in that scene when Obi-Wan's talking about the Clone Wars and his father and, all these, they served in the Clone Wars and they fought together and he was like a brother to me. We don't know anything about that until the prequels came. So it's kind of like the same situation. We're just kind of shifted around a little bit. We also had another interesting character. I don't know if you know who he is necessarily. If you remember from Aliens, Hicks. Do you remember Hicks from Aliens?
Not really.
Oh, well, Hicks is in this from Aliens for all our alien lovers at home, and he plays Lang. He's kind of like the gun for hire that's working with the magistrate here.
Sounds like you win.
And again, he didn't have much of a scene, but I thought it was kind of fun to see Hicks in an actual movie again after, being such a huge Aliens fan. I thought that was fantastic. The plot around this movie was kind of is what it is, right? I don't think it was anything too spectacular. It felt very, I've been saying it a lot, but it feels like very Wild West. It's almost to the point there's like a literal standoff in the middle of the streets. I felt like a tumbleweed was just going to roll by at some point between Mando and Lang.
I got no quarrel with you, Mandalorian.
That's far enough.
Again,
Yeah.
cool scene. We also get another piece of scene. And this is another thing. This episode did a lot of things I love, but for the uninitiated or the fans that don't know, I wonder how much impact it has. Because then we find out that Ahsoka is actually looking for Thrawn.
Where is your master? Where is Grand Admiral Thrawn?
Who was the end bad guy of Star Wars Rebels. So now we're going into Rebels territory, which was another animated, the more recent series. And with Thrawn, we also have Ezra, who was a Jedi. So I don't know if that's going to tie into this whole series. There's a lot going on there. And John's like, who the hell are you talking about? I don't know any of these people. That's okay, though, because we're all going to find out together. It brings up an interesting question where I like how Ahsoka won't train Grogu, because there's a couple of reasons. The first off, his bond with the Mandalorian is too strong.
His attachment to you makes him vulnerable to his fears. His anger.
All the more reason to train him.
No.
So if something happened to Mando, that would affect Grogu horribly. So I think she sees that almost as like seeing what happened to Anakin, right? So if Anakin lost Padme, that kind of flipped him over and flipped the switch to the dark side. I guess she fears that in Grogu. And also because of her allegiance where she doesn't really claim to either side necessarily. She's not a Jedi. She's not a Sith. So there's your white lightsabers. That's why her lightsabers are white, John, just so you know. Because she doesn't claim an allegiance to either side.
That's what I was thinking, because I was like,
yeah,
everybody else has like almost the same lightsabers. Like,
right.
either you're on the good side or you're the dark side. I figured
that's why.
white was kind of like the white flag.
Right. Well, yeah, she doesn't claim an allegiance to either side, so it would be inappropriate for her to train him as a Jedi. So it makes me wonder who is going to train him. I don't know what's going to happen in this next episode. I don't know what this is opening up.
There is one possibility. Go to the planet Tython. There you will find the ancient ruins of a temple that has a strong connection to the Force. Place Grogu on the Seeing Stone at the top of the mountain.
Then what?
Then Grogu may choose his path. If he reaches out through the Force, there's a chance a Jedi may sense his presence and come searching for him.
Yeah, when does Grogu get his green lightsaber?
I mean, there's not many Jedi alive from what I gather. It could be Ezra from Rebels, for our Rebels fans out there, which would probably be the most sense. Another rumor I heard was Cal from the more recent Star Wars video game, since his story technically is canon now. He's also an actor. He was on Shameless. He played the Joker in Gotham. I know he's a popular character as well. So it could be him. I don't know. I don't know what direction they're going to go in, but I don't think this is the last we've seen of Ahsoka, and it gives me a lot of excitement for what's to come in this series. We didn't get much action, but
I mean, I thought the sword fights were.
oh, yeah, but that's what I was gonna say. We didn't get much action, but the action we got was all perfectly choreographed and excellent. The way Ahsoka moved was amazing, right? It's what I expected a Jedi in live action to do. Chopping up, the bells and the swords and just going through people. It was great. Even her little skirmish with Mando in the forest, absolutely loved it. I was blown away by that, to be honest. I really liked that.
Ahsoka Tano!
I thought they were going to have more of a throwdown.
Mando got a new weapon at the end of this episode, so I wonder if that's going to play into any kind of story or whatnot, because the Mandalorian, their armor, that metal that it's made of, can reflect lightsabers.
No, I can't accept. I didn't finish the job.
No. But this belongs with the Mandalorian.
We saw him block her lightsabers literally with his gauntlets. So now he has a staff, he has some kind of weapon to fight. So I don't know if that's going to come into play. There's a lot of moving pieces now. Again, as much as we got answers, we got a lot of answers, and part of me wonders, is it too soon? Do we get answers too soon in the series? Or I don't know. I don't know where they're going necessarily. So I think the next episode or two, praying that this show isn't going to follow the trend where it seems like every other episode is almost like a filler travel episode. I really wonder where we're going, right? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
That would be a first.
I like firsts. Good or bad, they're always memorable.
And I like that. I like not knowing, and I like seeing all these fan favorite characters, come to live action. It's a big moment for Star Wars, and you can see all the love and loyalty they have to the fans. And it's great to see. It really is.
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like this is the first time we get to see a Jedi in the Mandalorian. So I feel like that's one of the big things where Jedi are so big and known, and this is the first time where we get to see one, and kind of seems like the first time Mando gets to see one either.
Yeah, and that's interesting too, which I do find that interesting in one regard, where he was part of a crazy cult of Mandalorians, right? So they follow the old traditions. The old traditions say the Mandalorians can't trust the Jedi.
A Mandalorian and a Jedi? They'll never see it coming.
But he's automatically trusting of Ahsoka right off the bat almost. I don't know, maybe there's a little logic issue there. I don't know, because you think he'd be maybe a little more distrustful, especially with, some of his past adventures this season. Everybody's trusting's turning on him or flipping on him every 2 seconds.
Well, he also left Grogu just sitting in the ship.
Yeah, that was probably a silly idea.
Just leave Grogu wherever you want.
One thing I do want to joke about, I don't know if it was a joke, I think he was being serious, but they mentioned the fact, when Ahsoka, he's trying to talk to Ahsoka, I want to leave Grogu with you and train with you. And she's like, no, I can't train. He's like, well, isn't this how I do something for you? And you do something for me. So I'll help you with your problem, right? And then you'll just help me with my problem.
And I'll help you with your problem, if you see to it that Grogu is properly trained.
I wonder if he was just commenting on the whole season in general, because that's pretty much everything he's been doing, right? It's pretty much just been, listen, I'll fix your problem as long as you help me out in some way. I felt like he was just commenting on the whole situation.
Definitely.
But we got a lot to come. I don't know. Good guys, bad guys. I don't know what deep Star Wars lore creations lurking in the background. All I know is I can't wait to see it. This episode was definitely a highlight this season. If for nothing else, we got live action Ahsoka. What else could you ask for?
That's right.
John, where can the people find us at home?
You can find us on YouTube. The Real Movie Guys on YouTube. You can like this episode if you enjoyed it. Hit the subscribe button so you can know when we put stuff out. You can also hit the notification bell that will let you know sometimes when we put things out.
Sometimes.
You can also find us on Twitter at The Real Movie Guy on Twitter. You can comment there. Let us know how you felt about this one.
Yeah.
How big into Star Wars are you? And you can also listen to us on many podcasting platforms such as...
Yes, for your listening pleasure, we are also available in podcast form at iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcast, Overcast, Breaker, Radio Public, and Pocket Casts. Be sure to give us a listen at any of those fine places. If you already are right now, hey, greatly appreciate it. Just search out Real Movie Guys. We'll pop right up. Thank you all again so much for joining us for this episode of The Real Review, Mandalorian Edition. My name's Kevin. That guy over there, he's John. We are The Real Movie Guys. Real guys, real movies, real thoughts. And don't forget, this is the way. See you next time.
May the Force be with you.